Thank you for joining. We are going to be looking at episode 6 of why some husbands do not help their wives. So please help me. Let's reach more people by sharing this live video on your timeline and invite people to join us. Wherever you are watching me from, you are warmly welcome, and a big apologies to those of you who were waiting for this live broadcast on the Married with a Live Facebook page. I will do my best to edit this video, put a shorter version there for you guys. Yeah, so God bless you for joining. We're going to be looking at what the wives are doing wrong. That is why their husbands do not want to help them at home, especially with childcare, house chores, and even when it comes to helping them to work on their career and other important aspects of their lives. So it's episode 6. If you've already missed episode 1 to 5, you can find them on the Married with a Live Facebook page or on the YouTube channel. You can also find everything I do with the singles and the couples, all of them, and including my cooking series and my pregnancy series. All of them are on Peace Amewowo YouTube channel. Okay, so that channel is literally multifaceted. Yeah, everything that I do, you can find it there. Those of you who are just joining, please share this live broadcast. Once you are done, please put it in the chat. Just say, I have shared it. Okay. And if you're a Swalian or a Mwalian, you can also leave it in the comments. What team do you belong to? Where are you watching from? Okay, let's make this interactive. And as I'm teaching, if there is anything that you don't understand, if you've got a question, you can leave it in the chat or in the comment section for me. God bless you once again. So we're going to look at what the men have left on the survey that I put together for those of you who want to leave your thoughts for me, or if you have a question you want to ask. So I've got a few questions coming in as well. One of the questions is about body shaming after birth. So this is a lady who has had a child or children, and people are making comments about her new body. Okay. And then there's another question about if you don't want to get pregnant immediately you get married, what can you do? So we'll look at that as part of today's reason why some husbands are not helping. Thank you now for sharing the live broadcast. Please, if you've shared it, leave a comment. God bless you all. So one of the reasons why the men are saying they are not helping their wives at home is that it says they are not helping because the woman does not give them sex. My wife is not giving me sex, so because of that, I don't feel like I should help her at home. I don't feel like I should be more involved in her life. I don't feel like I should help with the kids. Okay. So when I saw this question, I asked my husband this question. I said, what would you do if this was the case? And he said to me that, could it be that the reason why your wife is not giving you sex is because you are not even helping at all? Okay. Maybe because you are not helping her, you are not helping her at home, you are not helping her with anything she's doing. She gets too tired, and maybe that's the reason why she's not giving you sex. Okay, so I'm just twisting, doing a flip side. Okay, because you are saying she's not giving you sex, so because of that you are not helping her. But it could also be that because you are not helping her, that's the reason why she's not giving you the sex in the first place. Okay. So, yeah, that's something you have to think about. The second thing you have to do is start by helping her first. Okay. 2 wrongs does not make a right. 2 wrongs does not make a right. What men may not understand is that we are all wired differently. So when a a wife is tired, the last thing she needs or she's thinking about is sex. When they are physically tired. And worst of all, when they are mentally and emotionally tired, they become stressed, they become depressed. You will lose them totally when it comes to sex. And even in most aspects. Okay, so it is not in your best interest for your wife to be physically tired. And that has always been the main focus of this broadcast. If your wife is physically tired, she's doing everything. And sometimes some of the men still expect them to work, do a side business, bring money home, come back home, cook, clean, do childcare, do everything, and still give sex. It's not going to be possible. You will compromise. There will be a compromise somewhere. You will lose something because you are not giving your full support to your wife. It would affect some aspect of your life. And one of the major aspects will be sex. Because women, when our emotions are disturbed, when we are physically tired, we want to rest. Unlike men who, when they are very tired, they just want sex. It's like sex relaxes them. Okay, so when your husband is very tired, the day I'm feeling like, today my husband has worked so hard. He's so tired, he must be so tired. Immediately we get to bed, he will sleep. That's the day that, yes. Okay, so we both need to understand that if you are married, you have to understand how the men's body work and how the women's body work, the gender differences, so that you can be able to balance things very well. So it's not in your best interest if your wife is too tired. And that is the main reason why I came up with this topic. Because if your wife is too tired, it's going to affect so many things in your marriage. So first, do the right thing. Okay, help her. Help her. Two wrongs does not make a right. And the best way to correct something, the wrong thing, is to actually do the right thing. So do your part. If she's doing the wrong thing, still do your part. Don't ignore your responsibilities because one spouse is doing the wrong thing. Yeah. And if your wife is doing everything else, she's cooking, she's cleaning the house, she still works, she still takes care of the children, she still do laundry, okay? She's doing everything else, but the only thing she's not giving you is sex. Then there is a deeper issue that you have to address, you have to look at. You can't just say because you are not giving me sex, I'm going to abandon my responsibilities. You need to sit down as the head of the home, call a meeting. Okay, tell your wife, can we have a discussion? I would like us to discuss what is going on. Why are you not giving me sex? Okay, so you do the right thing first. Start helping her. Help her for like about a month and see if her behavior will change. Okay, or you keep helping. Just study. Make sure you're observing if she would bounce back or not. If she doesn't, after a month or two, you realize that you are doing everything that you have to do, but she's just not ready for sex, then call a meeting. Sit her down and ask her, go with an open mind, without any agenda. Okay, don't go thinking you're going to attack her or going to blame her, but go with an open mind and literally try to hear her out. Listen to her. Listen to what she's going to say to you. Be honestly eager to get her honest advice or honest thoughts, what she's going through, what she's feeling. Yeah, that's the way you can get the best out of her. So you allow her to speak. You ask her, what is going on? Is there a reason why? You know, it's been how many weeks or how many months we've not been able to have sex? Is there anything I'm doing wrong that you would like me to know? Okay, because sometimes sex is a very little part of the marriage, but it's very big. Okay, because there's so many things you are doing that sometimes you can get so busy you may not even think about sex. Some things become more important to you than sex, but if you don't have sex, it can also affect so many things. So it's quiet. It seems so little, but it's very big. I don't know how to explain it. So find out, because it could be that she's not even enjoying sex. That's why she's not giving you sex. There are many women who are not enjoying sex. In fact, there are many women who have never had orgasm. They don't even know what that is. Many women. So maybe she's not enjoying sex. Do you have problems with body odor? Sometimes some of these little things can put a woman off, and even a man off. Okay, so if you got body odor, how is your breath? So maybe if you have a bad breath, they may not want to be personal like that with you. Are you taking your time to prepare your woman? See, that's another thing about sex. The men, immediately they are erect, they want to go straight. They just want to enter and do the do, and that's it. But the women, they need to lubricate, they need to be ready for the sex before they can have the sex. Okay, and even throughout the day, how you treat the woman is very important. If you are stressing her, if she's not happy, again, if she's too tired, if you can't be bothered about her, all of that affects her emotions. So that is also part of the preparation. If she's not happy, then her body will not be ready. When you want to have sex, she's angry with you. And if you are angry, why would she want to, go that deep if she's angry? So it's a maturity that people have to have. If you are married, there's a maturity. Sometimes you can, depending on your level of maturity, some women can still have sex regardless of how they are feeling. Okay, they may not be able to give you their best, but they can still put all those pain aside. But for how long will they continue to do that? For how long? Okay, so that's why it is not in your best interest to just think because you are ready for sex, your wife is ready. You've got to prepare her for the sex. Okay, another thing is, if you don't prepare the wife for sex, if you don't prepare her, you don't do foreplay, okay, you can bruise her. She can feel pains when you're having sex with her. And if she's always feeling pain every time there is sex, she will not be ready for sex. Okay. And then if you jump off immediately, the sex is over, and you don't find out if she's okay. Maybe you're feeling okay, you've ejaculated, so you are fine. What about your wife? Is she fine? If your wife has not reached orgasm or she's not fine, you would know. And if you don't know, it means you are not doing a good job. As a husband, you will know if your wife is okay. If you're having sex and you have ejaculated and your wife has not reached her orgasm, you should be able to know. If you don't know, it means that you don't know your wife's body very well, or you are not paying attention to her. Okay, so if you are the type that is always jumping off and you go to bed, you start sleeping and snoring, when she's not fine, she's not going to be eager to have sex the next time. So if that's the ordeal she's always going through every time, then you ask for sex and she will be reluctant. She may not want to do it. Okay? And then if you're not communicating with your wife, you don't communicate. There are some husbands, they don't communicate. The whole day you've not spoken to your wife. You don't know how she's feeling. You don't know what is happening with her. You don't care about her. The only time you want sex, the only time you want to talk to her is when you want sex. Again, you are putting her off. She will not be ready. Yeah. If you are treating her badly. So these are some of the things that I want the men who feel my wife is not giving me sex, so I don't want to help her. I want you to look at these things. Do you sincerely feel that your wife is satisfied sexually? Do you sincerely feel you are treating her well? Do you sincerely feel you are keeping your body well? Yeah, to make her feel attracted to you. Are you getting her ready for sex mentally, emotionally, and even physically? Or whilst when you're about to, do you do any foreplay, or you just jump on her and do your own thing and leave her there. That is an abuse. Okay, so she's going to be emotionally disturbed and mentally disturbed, and it will not help her to always be eager when you want sex. So have a discussion purely to listen to your wife's honest answers, honest feelings. Sit her down, and whatever she tells you, work on it. Okay, whatever she tells you, work on it. Because if you don't work on it, then you will be at the same spot. You'll be at the same spot. Okay. Right, I hope I'm helping somebody. There's a scripture I will read. Or I will leave it in the, somebody can post it in the chat. 1 Corinthians 7, 1-5. So if you're a wife and you are denying your husband sex, this is a scripture that you have to look at. It's talking about the fact that your body is not for you. Okay, both of you, once you get married, my body is not my body anymore. It's my husband's body. His body is mine. Okay, so the scripture is saying do not deprive each other. Yeah, unless you have agreed that for a period, maybe you are fasting for something and you have both agreed that for the next 5 days or 1 month, because we are fasting, we are not going to have sex. Okay. It doesn't mean that you cannot have sex when you are fasting. But if both of you have agreed that that's what you're going to do, it's fine. Apart from that, you don't have any excuse. So ideally, whether you are tired, you are not tired, you don't have an excuse not to have sex. Okay, but, you know, some of the things that can make it difficult for you to have a healthy sexual life are the things we are discussing, so that, you know, you can work on it and both of you, you'll be at peace and enjoy your marriage. So that's how I'm going to address this question, or this reason the men are giving. And I hope I've given you some tools to work on so that both of you can do the right thing in your marriage. Okay, number 2 is question and answer time. Those of you who haven't seen the survey link, it should be on the Married with a Life Facebook page. Literally, you can put any questions that you have there for us, or the reasons why you are not helping your wife. And if you are a lady, what are the reasons your husband is giving you for not helping you? Okay, so we would like to hear your thoughts so that we can pick these things and talk about when I'm doing the live broadcast. Okay, so there's a question that somebody asked. He said, how does one deal with in-law intrusion in personal affairs, such as body shaming after birth? They make statements as jokes. And this is someone who has not given birth before. It's her sister-in-law. Okay, her sister-in-law, who is single, has been making jokes about her body because her body has changed. Now, the first thing you probably would do is to be angry when your sister-in-law or anybody at all starts saying, look at your tummy, look at how your tummy is looking big, look at the way you are so fat now. You probably will be angry. But personally, I think that you should be honest to yourself first. Okay. You have put on weight. You know you have put on weight. You yourself, you know that you've put on weight. So if somebody tells you put on weight, it's not new to you. Okay, so I know it's a bit tricky, it's dicey, but it's a mental adjustment that you have to make. Okay, when I got pregnant and after I delivered, I had my body literally exploded. I became so big, and I started posting photos of my new body, and I was celebrating it. So if you see me celebrating my body, even though I look like where 2 or 3 are gathered, how would you shame me? How would you start telling me that I look big and you think it's going to get to me when I'm already celebrating the state, my new body? Okay, so sometimes it's what you are telling yourself or what you are saying when people are around. If you make it look like you don't like where you are angry with where you are disgusted about your body, then others would follow suit. They will treat you based on that. Okay, so accept the fact that yes, pregnancy brings these kind of changes to a woman's body. Childbirth brings this kind of changes to a woman's body. Thank God that you have a child. There are people who will pay how many millions of pounds to get a child. God has blessed you with one. So celebrate the body, the new body that you have. Okay, so I would like, if you're in that position, I would like you to have that mental adjustment. Okay, so that it will put you in peace. And then when you hear somebody making comments, it will no longer hurt. Okay. Number 2, this person you said is body shaming is single. So the first thing you need to do is education. You have to educate her. I know it's an in-law, and in-laws are not very easy. Sometimes they are not very easy to handle. So you would have to do education, educate them. There are many singles who have no idea about pregnancy. And even if you're married and you are yet to have children, you are so eager. Oh, I want to have a child. I want to have a child. And you are praying, God, help me. Holy Spirit, help me. You cry. You pay your tithe. You sow your seeds. You do all these things. You are eager. You're looking forward to have your own child. But guess what? The last thing on your mind is how that pregnancy journey is going to be like. You will not think about how my body is going to look like. It's many of us, until we had our own children, we had no clue about pregnancy. Unless maybe you've lived with a pregnant woman before, maybe your siblings or you lived with an auntie who was pregnant and you saw the process they went through, you may never have an idea what pregnancy is really about. And that's the reason why I did the pregnancy series, because I remember exactly where we were when we're having this discussion. I was having a very complicated pregnancy, my first pregnancy, and even the second one was complicated. And complication in terms of I was feeling a lot of back pain, waist pain. The pregnancy was fine, baby was fine, but I had a lot of back pain, waist pain. And so both of my pregnancies, I had a cesarean section. Okay, so I was going through all these pregnancy issues, and my husband asked me, when you were single, did you know that pregnancy would be this hard? Could be this hard? And I said, no. You know, I always pride myself that I prepared for marriage. I asked people questions. I spoke to married people. I asked them questions about marriage. But funny enough, I never asked anybody about pregnancy. Even though I knew and I had a desire that one day I'll have my own child or my own children, pregnancy was the last thing on my mind. And maybe too, because many of us, we grew up in the church. Okay, so we knew that you cannot get pregnant before marriage, or no sex before marriage. So these things somehow, unconsciously, they kind of blind you. Okay, so pregnancy was the last thing on my mind. I did not ask anybody any question about pregnancy. I had people around me who became pregnant, had their children, but I never asked them a question about pregnancy. So when my husband asked me, did you know that pregnancy could be this hard? I said no. So I thought, okay, there are so many singles that I'm equipping who may also be clueless like me. So let me start putting out my pregnancy series. So that's how I started, why I started a pregnancy series. Some people still think I'm pregnant because I recently just posted baby number 2, delivery of baby number 2. So they thought I just gave birth. No, no, baby is 8 months already. And by the time I started posting the first episode, my first child was 1 year, 10 months. Okay, so they were already, yeah. So I'm literally just showing you what has happened, how many years. Okay, first pregnancy was 2020, yeah, and I had the second baby this year, who is 8 months. Okay, he's actually 8 months today. So I'm not pregnant. Yeah, thank you for all the congratulations, but baby's already here. Yeah, so I just wanted you to know that you need to educate her. She's single. She probably haven't been around pregnant women. So she doesn't know that her body will, that when you get pregnant, your body can expand or you can put on weight. Many people don't know that. And many husbands, many men don't know. So they marry a very slim looking girl and they think she's going to stay like that forever. And so even husbands can do body shaming. They can make comments that can upset you. Okay, they can make comments like, oh, look at the way you put on weight. Is it are you the only person who has had a baby? Look at this woman. She's had it. For instance, like now that I've lost almost all the weight, it's very easy for a husband who is following Married with a Life to look at me and start saying to the wife, even look at sweet lady, look at the way she has trimmed down. You are looking like a pig. You cannot slim down. Blah, blah, blah. Your wife is no sweet lady. And the amount of support I'm having from my husband, maybe you are not giving that support to your wife. And if your wife is doing everything, she will not have time to work on her body. Okay? There are things I've had to make drastic changes. And some of them, it means that I have to eat things that we normally will not eat at home. So they are more expensive. Would you allow your wife, if she tells you, I now want to live on only fruits for 3 months, I want to eat only salad for 4 months, would you allow her? Because you probably be thinking about the money. Would you allow her? You might not allow her. So if you're a husband and you're also doing body shaming, it's because you don't understand. Okay? You don't understand that your wife's body will change. Women's body change. Women put on weight. There are some who may never be able to come back to their weight, to their pre-pregnancy weight. They may never be able to. Some of them, because of complications in pregnancy, they can never come back to themselves. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to have a flat tummy again. I've had 2 cesarean sessions and I've not worked on my tummy. Because when I put my hand, I can still feel the pain. And there are some women who maybe they've had 3 children, all of them cesarean section. Some of them, they have womb prolapse. You know, they have issues that affect their womb when they have the children. So because of that, their tummy becomes big. Okay, they can't work on it. It becomes a medical condition that they have to live with. Lack of education will make a single person think you are not taking good care of yourself. And it's interesting. When I was single, and I have friends who had babies and they became so big, I used to think maybe they're not taking good care of themselves. You know, I didn't know. I see people put on weight all the time, but I just thought it's because they're not taking good care of themselves. But it's literally part of pregnancy and part of childbirth. You get so... You see, this lady that brought this thing, tell your sister-in-law, yes, that obenyina beto. What that means is apparently the pig or the piglet asked the mother pig, why is your mouth so big? And the mother said, you grow up and understand. Okay, so this person is single. In a matter of how many years, she would also get married and she will get pregnant. And the same thing she is laughing or teasing you about or mocking you about might happen to her. Okay, so if you've not been where some people have been, don't criticize them. If you've not had a child yet, don't criticize somebody who has a child and has put on weight. Because you don't know how your body... Look at how big... Some of you have followed my pregnancy series. Look at how big I became. I was so shocked. Because I was so tiny like that when I was single. I became so massive. I'm like, what is this? You know, one day I was looking in the mirror and I was touching my cheeks. I was like, oh, look at the way my cheeks are big. Look at my breasts, they become so big. Look at my tummy. I said to myself, I'm looking so ugly. And then my husband was standing by me. He was trying to put some things on the bed. And he heard me and he said, God forbid You are not ugly. You are not ugly. This is just a stage. It's going to pass. Okay. So that helped me. Maybe if he also said, it's true. Look at the way. Okay, so the men, please don't add to the problems that pregnancy can bring to a woman. Yeah, so please educate her. And if you can, if by the grace of God, you had a smooth pregnancy, you didn't have any complications, maybe you had a natural birth, there was no tearing, there was no complications, and you came out baby alive, you alive, please don't wait until you have all your kids before you start losing weight. Okay, you can work on your body. It probably will be difficult, but it can still work. Okay, so work on yourself. Use this as an opportunity to work on yourself. When I started posting my big photos, when I was big, and I started putting the photos out, and I posted one photo of me when I was very slim, and I said, can I go back? How many people want me to go back to this size? And 2 of our swallions said it will not work. There's no way I'll go back to that size. I use that as a positive energy to push myself to go back to a slimmer body. Okay, so if your sister-in-law is doing body shaming, or your husband is doing body shaming, or whoever it is that is mocking you because you put on so much weight, use it as a positive energy, okay, to push yourself, work on yourself, okay, especially if you had no complications. Work on yourself little by little, cut down some things, check your diet. A lot of the weight gain comes from food. A lot of it comes from food. In fact, 80% comes from food. So if you can work on your food, how much you eat. Anyway, that's a whole topic on its own. And by the grace of God, I'll come up with something to do with it, because I've been able to work on my body. Some part of my body will never change. It will never go back to the same. But at least I've lost significant amount of weight. So what I did, I can share it to bless somebody. But don't let anyone get to you. Thank God that you have a child. Appreciate your new body. And if you can work on it, please work on it. Okay. I hope I'm blessing somebody. Number 2 question. So the person said, after marriage, if one wants to stay like 6 months to a year without getting pregnant, how does one go about it? Does it not affect childbearing afterwards? Okay, this is a good question. Somebody once said to me that they were told by their grandmother that contraceptives can make you not to have kids. It can stop you from having children later on. So there are so many myths out there about contraception, which is a broad topic. Contraception is a broad topic. So I think that this person probably have heard something similar, or they're afraid of the effect of contraception. So again, mindset shifts. What you need to understand is that every medication or every medicine has side effects. Even paracetamol, plenty side effects. Okay, but it doesn't mean that everyone will be affected. Okay, so sometimes they will give a percentage and say that maybe 2% of people might have this side effect, 98 might not. Okay, so the question is, do you believe that you are among the ones that will have that side effect? If you believe it, then it probably will happen to you. Okay, so just know that every medication, every medicine has side effects. Contraceptives, they will tell you, you can do this, you can do that, you can bring this, you can bring that. But there are so many women who have done contraceptives, who have had contraceptives, and they didn't have to go through that. Okay, so your case it's different. And especially if you're Swalian or Mwalian, it's one of the Swa blessings. We say that my case is different because I'm a Swalian. Okay, so your case could be different. And when it comes to contraception, it's not something that you just go to the market or you go to the chemist and you pick. If you do that, you're going to damage your body. Okay, contraceptives have their own, they have their side effects. Yes, nobody is disputing that. Some of them can stop you from menstruating. It depends on which one you take. So you have to go to a sexual health clinic. Okay, there are hospitals who have a department for that. There are clinics that specifically deal with these things, family planning, or, you know, in the UK, they call them sexual health clinic. Go there, yeah, and let them talk to you about the different contraceptives available. That's if you want to do contraception, okay? Go there, let them talk to you about it. They will normally advise you based on your medical history. So there are some sicknesses or illnesses or diseases that you've had in the past, which will not allow you to be on certain contraceptives because it can complicate your issue. That is why you can't just go and pick. You know, unfortunately, some of our girls who, growing up, we want to be bad girls. We know that we are not meant to have sex, but we want to have sex. And we don't have the confidence, especially if you're in Africa. You don't have the confidence to just walk to a sexual health clinic when you are not married, when you are just a youth, and say that I want contraception. So because of that, you go and buy from the market where nobody will ask you too many questions. Okay? And so those things can now affect your body. And especially if you are on it for years. Maybe you are 15, you started taking contraceptives. By the time you are 30 or 25, before you get married, how many years of contraceptives you've used? How much damage has it had on your body if you didn't choose the right one? So to be on the safe side, they have their complications already, but go to the hospital, the sexual health clinic, let them advise you based on your medical history. They will ask you so many questions and choose the right one for you. Okay, so contraception is not a no. You know, I did say in my last episode that it's one of the things that the Holy Spirit impressed on my heart, that when I'm doing counseling for our singles who want to get married or who are about to get married, I should talk to them about contraception. Because many of them, they will be so eager when I'm teaching about the fact that try not to have children immediately, don't get pregnant on the wedding day. They are so eager, it's as if they understand. And then they get married and within a month, they are sending a message, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, what is going on? And the Holy Spirit said to me, they don't have any plans for contraception. And truly, when I started doing that in our counseling, I realized that most of them don't have it. They don't. They are afraid. They've heard something somebody said. They think when they take contraception, when they are ready to have children, the children will not come. You know how many people started having contraception when they were way back young, and they have 10, some of them, they have 10 children. There's a woman that I saw her video on YouTube, had how many, over 40 children. And apparently contraception doesn't work for her. She's so fertile that the contraception doesn't work. So it's individual cases, okay? Maybe the person that had complications afterwards was among the 2% or the 3% or whatever who may have major effect from contraception. So please get the right advice from professionals so that you can base your decision on that. Now, many people want to use a safe method. Okay, so if you want to wait a bit before you get pregnant, maybe you want to wait for 6 months or 1 year before you get pregnant, the first advice I will give you is go to the sexual health clinic, get a contraception that will work for you. Normally, they would advise you go on it for about 4 to 6 weeks before you get married, so that your body would adjust to it. Because sometimes you start one, you might start bleeding, or it might not work well with your body. So you can change it in time before your first sex. Okay? So if you do it in time, it will help. Now, if you don't want to use contraception, because it's not compulsory for you to use contraception, do not do anything that you are afraid to do. Because anything that is done out of fear, the devil can even major on it, take advantage. and use it to affect you. So if you are not in peace about contraception, you are so afraid that if you take it, something is going to happen to you, don't take it. Okay, so you want to use the safe method, which most of our singles who normally I advise them or counsel them when they're about to marry, that is what they do. And that is why they are always pregnant from day one. So I will explain why that happens. Yeah, so the safe method they are trying to use is, one of them is using the menstrual calendar, which tells them about the ovulation. Now, it's good to follow the menstrual calendar. But personally, in my opinion, I'm not a healthcare personnel, and I'm not a developer of that menstrual calendar. But from my opinion, in my opinion, I don't think the menstrual calendar is 100% accurate. I don't think so. The reason is that sometimes the period that I felt I have been pregnant was even outside of my ovulation. So there are women who would say that they got pregnant right after their period. Okay. And you know, it takes about maybe some days, or maybe 10 days or 14 days to get into your ovulation after the period. Yeah. You can check your menstrual calendar. So my advice has always been, if you are trying to conceive, have consistent sex. At least every 2 days, have sex. For the sperm can live apparently up to 3 to 5 days in the woman's body. So you just need to have healthy sperms. And I don't advise having sex every day if you want to conceive, because it can, we did this whole topic on the MOA WhatsApp group. It can make the sperm watery, yeah, because you need to build the sperm. So that's why you can't do it every day. If you're doing it every day, you realize that if you're having sex every day, your sperms can become too watery, and the sex can even take too long because you don't have too much sperm waiting. So it take too long for you to ejaculate. And if your wife has already reached orgasm and you are still on top of her, it's all a nuisance. Okay, that's when the women start complaining. They are just lying down waiting for you to finish. Okay, it can become a nuisance. So my advice is wait for the sperm to build up. So if you have sex today, wait for another 2 days, let the sperm build up. In that case, when you are even having sex, the man doesn't take too long to ejaculate because it's there. So it's easy for it to come, and then also it's not going to be too watery. It's viable. It can be viable. Sorry, this is a very difficult topic to treat. Anything about sex is difficult to treat. Okay, so have sex even from there's a website that I looked at. It's called NHS Choices. They will always advise have consistent sex at least for 2 years. Consistent sex means that the average normally is 3 times in a week. So as long as you're having about 3 times, you're having sex 3 times in a week for a whole 2 years, if there is no pregnancy, then you can seek for medical advice. If you're not having consistent sex, okay, maybe you have sex once a week or once a month, and you are not getting pregnant, it's not because you have a problem, it's because you are not giving your body enough chances. So even medically, they will advise you, it has to be consistent, and it has to be at least 2 years. After the 2 years, if nothing has happened, then you can go and check what is wrong with my body. Is there a medical condition we have to deal with here? Because many times, when you speak to people, you realize that they are not having enough sex. And after a year, pregnancy is not here and they are all over. Meanwhile, you're not having enough sex. Okay, so as long as you're doing the right thing, God can show you mercy. Sometimes the reason why pregnancy doesn't come can also be spiritual reasons. Somebody can tie your womb. Somebody can do juju on you. Somebody can cast a spell on you. Somebody can curse you. So there's so many reasons why pregnancy may not occur. So the fact that you are not on contraceptives, or you've never done contraceptives before, it's not a guarantee that you will have a child. But there are many people who have done contraceptive, they have children. And there are some who have never been on contraceptive, and they've been married for years, they don't have children. So all of these things is just human wisdom that we try to put together to help ourselves. But ultimately, when it comes to pregnancy, it's God. It's God. Because imagine having sex and how many sperms are released at a go. Millions or billions of sperms are released, and not even one is able to fertilize the egg for how many years. So you know that it's more spiritual than physical. Okay. So those who don't want to go on contraceptive, if you want to do the safe sex using the calendar, just understand that the calendar is not 100% accurate. So your best bet is to be consistent, have consistent sex. Okay, maybe right after your period, when your period is over, start having sex every 2 days. Okay. After you've waited, that's if you want to have after the 6 months or whatsoever. Yeah. And the other problem with the calendar is if you put the wrong information, it's going to give you wrong ovulation as well. So you can still use ovulation period, utilize it, but still make sure that you're having consistent sex outside of the ovulation. So the ovulation period is not the only time you have sex. Because sometimes people think this is my best chance. So within this, and it's only 6 days in the whole month. So they measure all their sex on that 6 days. You're gonna be stressed. You'll be stressed out. So don't measure all your sex there. Just make sure you are, doing consistently. And then the other thing, the withdrawal method also is one thing that the singles who are about to get married think they can do. And trust me, I don't think it works well for newlyweds. If you just got married, I don't think withdrawal method works well for you or will work well for you. Why? You are not experienced sexually yet, or you don't understand your bodies yet. It takes time for both of you to understand how your body works. Maybe you've been having sex when you were young or when you were single, but with a different person, or even probably with your boyfriend who became your husband, which was wrong to do. But let's say you were doing it. So you thought that because you were doing it, you know sex, or you know how your body works. It's not the same when it comes to marriage. Because most of the sex that is done outside of marriage can be done in a rush. You are hiding to do it. You are guilty doing it. Okay. So the intensity of the sex might be minimal. But when you get married, you are in the comfort of your home. You have peace. You know that you are not guilty doing the sex. So you can relax and go extra mile. And that is when sex can become intense. And when it's intense, you are newlyweds. You don't know how your husband behaves when it comes to sex. Or you don't know how he behaves when it's so intense. And especially if you've never had sex before, or if you've never had sex with this person before, the person you are married to before, you don't understand how your body works. So you don't know how would he behave when he's about to ejaculate. How would he behave? How would your wife behave when she's about to reach orgasm? You don't know all of these things. And that is why it fails. And I have so many evidence that it fails, because most of my singles who did that, it failed. Okay. So if you try the withdrawal method, it could be that maybe the time that you are about to ejaculate, that is when your wife is enjoying the sex so much, so she will hold you tight. You are trying to withdraw, she is holding you tight. How would you withdraw? Or even when you withdraw, by the time you withdraw, some has already entered. And that little that entered, it can produce how many children? Somebody put it in the chat. 10,000 children, 200 children, how many? It can produce a lot of children. You just need a little viable one, okay? And it can do so much. So don't focus too much on the withdrawal thing. It might not work for you, especially if you're newlyweds. If you've been married for years, you understand your body to some extent. When we got married, we had very little to no knowledge about sex. But now I know how my husband's body works. I know how my body works. I know how to even how to help myself to reach orgasm quickly if I want to. Yeah, it's something that as you keep having sex, you would finally discover, you would discover so many things about yourselves as you're having sex in marriage. So it takes years for you to discover these things, okay? And because you are newlywed, you don't have that advantage. So it's possible that you will not be successful with the withdrawal method. There are couples who have mastered it because they've been doing it for years. So they have experience. And it might work for them. So if you're going to use the withdrawal method, you've got to be extra careful. Maybe you can add condoms to it. You can wear condom and try and do withdrawal method, because the condom too, you know, all the contraceptives, they are not 100% effective. Okay. Some of them, apparently some of the condoms can even have little holes in them. You never know. So no contraceptive is 100% accurate or safe. So if you're going to do safe method, ovulation, using ovulation, checking your temperature to know when you're ovulating, or doing withdrawal, whatever, make sure that you are adding another thing in the condom, because the condom doesn't have any complications like the medications. Okay, they don't have side effects like the medication, apart from the fact that it can burst or it can come off. Yeah, so that's my advice for those who want to wait a little bit before they get pregnant. Yeah. And then when, assuming you want to get pregnant when your marriage is 1 year, that's when you want to start getting ready for pregnancy. When you are 3 months away from the month or the time you want to be pregnant, stop the contraception. If you're on contraception, stop it. Yeah, come off it. You can still stay within your safe method or whatever you are using, whether the ovulation or the withdrawal or the condom. You can still be using that, and come off the medication. Okay, whether it's a pills or whatever you are using, come off it completely, at least 3 months to the day. That's my personal advice. Okay, I'm not a medical personnel, but from experience. Yeah, you can come off it and then start using pregnancy folic acids. Okay, because the reason why I said come off it for at least 3 months is so that if there is any, because remember the contraception is designed in such a way that it can block your tubes, okay, so that it can block your ability to conceive. So the sperms, they can be killed at some point so that it doesn't enter into your fallopian tube and meet the egg and that kind of thing. Okay, so if that's the process, it's possible that I know women who immediately they came off the contraception, they got pregnant. Okay, but to be on the safe side, you can wait a bit. Yeah, let's get rid of anything that is in the system. Okay, so when you come off the contraception, give your body chance to get rid of anything, so that whatever that is blocking your fallopian tubes or whatever can take a time to release your body. I don't know how to explain it better. Okay, so literally getting rid of the chemicals or whatever it is out of your body for some time before you plan to have your child. So go on folic acids, yeah, and vitamin D. And they have a specific amount that you need. So this is why, again, you can go to any clinics. You can ask them what is the, sometimes in the UK, if you go to Boots or Superdrug, they have the pregnancy folic acids. They've written on it, pregnancy. And some of them are combined ones. It's got the folic acid and vitamin D. So the right quantity is there. But if you are in Africa or other countries, I don't know what is recommended there for you guys. So you need to ask questions when you go to the chemist. Say, I'm trying to be pregnant, or I want to start getting my body ready for pregnancy. What folic acid should I go for? If it's vitamin D, what is the volume, okay, or the quantity I should go for? They will tell you, they will advise you. So let the professionals advise you. So be on that folic acid plus the vitamin D. Be on it for some time, for at least 3 months, and then let your body start, your hormones start balancing out, yeah, to balance your hormones out before you start getting ready for pregnancy. Okay, that's my advice for those who want to wait. Yeah, if you want to wait. But if you don't want to wait and you want to get pregnant immediately, you get married for whatever reason, remember the consequences of that. You can watch episode 5 of why some husbands do not help their wives, to understand the effect it can have on your marriage and on your life and on your sexual life. Okay, because children come with a whole lot of responsibility, that if you are not ready for the children, and if God doesn't help you, you have a complicated pregnancy, you compromise your marriage right from the day you got pregnant. And the long term will not be nice. Okay, so that's how I'm going to end this broadcast. I hope I have blessed somebody. If I've blessed you, please share this broadcast. If you joined late, make time and go through from the beginning. Yeah, God bless you. All those admiring my cuteness, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for your support. Those sharing, God bless you. God bless you. Tag somebody. Yeah, if you're on the Married with a Life Facebook page, apologies that I couldn't broadcast there. Hopefully I'll be able to sort out this thing. If it doesn't work, then I'll just be broadcasting here and I'll put it on the Facebook page or the YouTube channel. So the reason is, when I try to go on the page, it just put a video in a box. It doesn't allow me to put it in landscape. And if I download it, it's going to look very funny. So I don't want to do double, like waste my time doing something that is not going to come out nice. So I have to do it here. But hopefully we get it corrected. If not, we'll find another way to make it work. Okay, so God bless you all. There's a question somebody asked. How do you feel about sharing your personal marital experiences with people? How does your husband feel about it? Because apparently the person said he thinks my husband is laid back and relaxed. And I said, God forbid, my husband is not laid back. You know, so yeah, my husband doesn't feel any problem, doesn't have any problem with it. Anytime I'm coming live, I will always discuss the questions that you ask. I'll discuss it with him, try to get his thoughts as a male, because I'm a female, so I probably would tackle it from the emotional side. So I try to get his logical side to add my thoughts, and then I come and share. So I don't, even though I'm sitting here alone, I'm not doing this alone. Okay, I ask him. And with regards to personal stuff, if I'm going to use an example that is very personal to our marriage, I will ask him permission if it's okay to share. So everything I've shared, almost everything I've shared, I've got his permission. There are times that I've shared things that is Holy Spirit inspired. I didn't plan it, but as I'm sitting here, it will drop. Share this. And if I have the peace of God, I tend to know when is God, maybe somebody needs it. And most of the time, the testimony that comes after, I know that is Holy Spirit inspired. Okay, so I don't just share. Who want to just share? You know, there are things left to me alone. There are things that I will not share. But if you've got a calling to do the things you do, there's a grace that covers you. There's a protection that comes with it. So there are things that I can share knowing that God has got my back. And I've got the right motive for sharing it, because I want people to learn and benefit from it. So I share for teaching purposes. I don't have anybody that I call on the phone to specifically say, see, this and that, blah, 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 blah. No. But if I share, it's purposely for teaching, so that somebody will be blessed. Because I believe that my experience is not just for me. What I go through is not just for me. It's because somebody will need it later on. So my husband is 100% happy with it. It's a question somebody put on the chat, on the survey link. Yeah. And I asked my husband, would you consider yourself as a laid-back person? He said, no. He's not laid back at all. So a laid back person doesn't bother. They don't care about anything. No, my husband cares a lot. He cares a lot about so many things. He takes his time to do things, to think through things. Yeah, he's reserved. He's naturally look like a quiet person, but he's not quiet. If you know my husband, you know he's not quiet. Yeah, he can really talk. He's been a youth leader before for years. So youth leaders are not naturally quiet people. Yeah. So he's not laid back. Laid back is the wrong word the person used. I think they probably just want to say he's quiet. Yeah. Yeah. So I hope I've addressed that question as well. That's the bonus question that I've answered. So God bless you. Feel free, when I post the link, feel free to put any questions that you have there. And we will do our best to answer it to the best of our ability. If there is something that is too personal and we are not ready to share it, maybe it's not the right time to share, we will not share. So if you go on YouTube, just search Peace Amewowo. You see all the videos that I do. So I've got a effective singleness. I'm currently teaching how to choose a spouse. So you see all the videos for effective singleness. I've done videos on marital blessings, how to receive marital blessings, a pregnancy series, a cooking series, this series that I'm doing, and other family videos. Most of the family videos are on this page, but they are just excerpts. So if you want the longer version, you can find them on my YouTube channel, Peace Amewowo. Yeah, like our videos, subscribe, and help us to grow so that we all grow together. My next episode is going to be next year. I don't know the date yet, but I'll keep you guys posted. And happy New Year in advance. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.